Hello, friends. Susan Axelrod here, the Confidence Coach. Welcome to the Confidence Zone. Every now and then I go to a deck of cards I have called Crush Your Goals. I don't know where I bought this, some gift shop that sells decks of cards and paper and all kinds of fun little things to fill your desk with. And even though I don't use goals very often anymore, I'm more in the idea of feeling, envisioning, seeing what it is that I want to achieve and accomplish. Every now and then I do set some hard goals. I do have a goal this year to publish my next book, and I have a goal, dare I say out loud, to get it published by June 30th, having been through the first half of this year, so that I can work with it in my business for the second half of this year. And so when I do have a hard goal like that, sometimes I need help to crush my goals. So I go through the deck and I look at the cards and I see what resonates with me. And one came up today that I want to share with you that is relevant if you work in your own business. The quote is this: "I know how it looks, but just start. Nothing is insurmountable." And this quote is from Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote the musical Hamilton. So he's lived a very blessed life and had a lot of success in his industry. But I wonder if you know the story that it took him 7 years to compose the musical Hamilton. 7 years, from the years 2008 to 2015. You think of Hamilton the musical and you'd be like, oh, what a great musical. I loved it, or I didn't like it. I saw it, or I didn't see it. It's a done deal, fait accompli, did that. But in every minute of 7 years, he was working to compose that musical. Maybe he was doing other things during that time as well, but that musical did not just appear. So I want to ask you, how long is your own attention span in your business? How long are you willing to commit to a project that you feel deeply or have a goal for? How long are you willing to take? In the world today, when you hear easily people have only a 3-second or 5-second attention span, if you're scrolling on social media, if you don't grab them in the first 3 seconds or 5 seconds or 10 seconds, forget it, you lost them. We know people's attention spans are very short today. We know that people do have a hard time focusing because of the distraction of, social media and all the electronics that they have, etc. We know people have more in their lives in a day than people used to have in a year in their lives. We know all of this. And we know that sometimes it's a struggle to stay focused on a task. When you're in the intuitive business, as I am, then you are able to achieve and maintain focus because you're in your intuition space, which leads you to make the impact that you want to make. So the intuitive business that I teach through my intuitive business system helps and supports and leads you to the impact space, which I myself learned from Wendy Lipton-Dibner, to be able to make the impact that you want to make. Impact leads to legacy. And my website is whatwillyourlegacybe.com. So reverse engineering back to now, how long are you willing to stay with something in business? How long before you see something as a failure? Today, in a session I had with a former client, I was talking to her on the phone. She was telling me about an expectation set by the boss, and that they apparently boss person felt that there was failure. I said, oh, what were the markers of that? What were the indicators of that? How do you know how does she know that that was a failure? When you set up the system or the process or the goal or the program, were there markers clearly indicated that said, if you achieve this, this is a success? Or if you don't achieve these, that is a failure. Now, I could ask that question in that case because I knew without a doubt that that hadn't been done. This supervisor telling the employee, this program is a failure, we're going to shut it down, when there were no markers to indicate what was a success or a failure at the outset of the program. I helped my client whom I was speaking with, understand you couldn't know that it wasn't succeeding if there were no markers along the way. Time for me is always a marker. Consistency is always a marker. If you are in a sales position, possibly a fundraising position, then there are numbers associated with what you're doing every day. You have monthly quotas, quarterly quotas, annual metrics that you need to fill. And if you're in sales, you don't get bonused, you don't get raises, you don't meet the bonus package. If you're not meeting the very detailed specific numbers, but the rest of us, often there are no markers given to us for success or failure. Along the way of success and failure, time can be our friend. Time was his friend when he was composing this musical. I don't know him personally. I don't know anything about him. I don't know anything about his life and how much he suffered the agony day by day, year by year that passed, that he wanted to produce this amazing, output that he created in the musical Hamilton, how much he suffered about how much time was passing. When you have this type of project come up in you, that's, we know must have been big because of what happened with it in our world. When you have that in you, then it's important to stick with it and to allow time to be your friend. He said, I know how it looks, but just get started. Nothing is insurmountable. And that is often a thought that we have that creates blocks, barriers, and resistance to our going for something in business. Or in the case of another client conversation I had early this morning, something personally. What will it take for you to be able to do that thing? How can we see it? What will it feel like if you do it? And the same in business. Nothing is insurmountable if you just start. And also we know, break it down. So I want to ask you, how long are you willing to spend on something in your business? I have a book that I wrote in the year 2017, and it's never been published. So possibly maybe by the year 2027, it will. Maybe I'll take it off the shelf. It's a thick folder at this point with all the notes and all the writing and all the chapters that I wrote and printed out. And if it gets published in the year 2027, then it will have taken 10 years. If it doesn't get published till 2037, it'll take longer than that. I expect that book is going to be published, but it will have been a long time of writing, thinking, processing, and allowing it to percolate and grow and evolve until the time that is intended for it to be published. I need to be patient with that. Sometimes we do need to be patient in business. That's what I'm asking you about today. How long are you willing to take to produce the thing that you know is intended to come out? I hope you're willing to take time, because in the world we live in today, if things don't happen instantaneously, then often we move on to the next thing. We shut it out, we close it down, it's failed, move on. That's not the way it is often in business. Things can take time in business to percolate and grow and evolve. You have to tend to the details and come back and review. I hope that if you are working in your own business and you're struggling a bit today, that this message is heeded. Stick to it in business and you will have the success that you want. All right, friends, that's it for today. See you next time in the Confidence Zone.